We have a lot to discuss in today's video because after UFC 321, where Tom Aspinall was eye-poked by Ciryl Gane and the fight was called off because he couldn't see anything, it wasn't just the owner of the UFC, Dana White, that threw Tom Aspinall under the bus. It was also these two clowns to start with, because there's a lot more people that we're going to go through in today's video. Chael Sonnen and Anthony Smith also threw Tom Aspinall under the bus and had some abysmal takes on the situation on the analyst desk of ESPN, which is insane. This isn't like their little show that they did. They are on the analyst desk. They are paid to analyze what just happened in the fight. And after the fight, it cut straight to them. And they gave some of the worst takes I've ever heard. And let's just say some of the takes, especially from Anthony Smith, are very rich coming from him. But they're not the only people that we're going to go through in today's video, because there's more to discuss. I feel like the MMA industry as a whole is turning on Tom Aspinall here. Okay? ESPN itself is posting like a John Jones fan would. This is something I'd see from a John Jones fan on Twitter. They're comparing how Jones looked compared to Tom Aspinall right afterwards. Right after the fight happened. Even the comments aren't really agreeing with this. But ESPN's like chucking on extra rage bait. The way no long-term eye damage is the headline here for the post about Tom Aspinall as well. They're just chucking out posts looking to farm anti-Tom Aspinall comments on the posts. Absolutely insane. And then we're going to go through some fighter takes on this, okay? I went through Twitter. I weren't even going to include these in the video. But while I was looking for stuff on Twitter about this, I found these. And they're terrible. Aljamain Sterling weighed in on this. And normally you would think this is the expert on the topic because he's had a very similar situation. But he's had a terrible take. And then there's other fighters like Terrence McKinney. You're a fighter. And you're sounding like a casual fan at home with the takes that you had. So I'll get to them at the end of the video. My God, what a weird situation we're going through right now. He got eye poked. He lost vision. Really bad eye poke, by the way, as well. Really, really bad eye poke. Both eyes. He couldn't see anything. And then he's the bad guy in the situation. Even though Ciryl Gane is one of the dirtiest fighters in UFC heavyweight history. I'm sure you've seen a ton of videos going around about that now, of all the time that he cheats in fights. And his teammates as well in Nassourdine Imavov. But we're going to start with Chael Sonnen and Anthony Smith, who had some horrific takes on the situation. And I'm just going to let Chael take it away. So he's going to start. This is his initial response. They've cut to them, and this is his initial response on the situation.
Words do you have?
I'm mad, and I don't know who I'm mad at. I'm either mad at Ciryl or I'm mad at Tom. Something about this, though, was very off. Look, the fight.
I'm mad, and I don't know who I'm mad at. You're either mad at Ciryl or you're mad at Tom. Or you're mad at Ciryl Gane regardless for eye gouging Tom. You can have the take that you think, oh, you know, I just feel like Tom wanted out of there. It's an incorrect take. But if you're retarded, you can have that take, fair enough. A lot of retards out there nowadays. So if you are that way, you can just say, oh, I don't know if I have any evidence of it, but I just think that we also got to be really angry at Tom Aspinall for some reason. For Chael to say, I'm mad, and I don't know who I'm mad at. I'm either mad at Tom or Ciryl Gane, like it's an option. You're mad at Ciryl regardless. Championship fight. He's one of the dirtiest fighters on the roster, and he's eye gouged Tom Aspinall. And that wasn't even the only time that he went for it in the fight. If you go back and watch the fight at the very beginning of the fight, which was a very short fight, by the way, the referee says, close your fingers, Ciryl. Immediate warning given by the referee. Then when he stuffs a takedown, the second attempt when Tom tried to get in on his hips, he clawed at his eyes again. But thank God he missed the eyes that time. And Tom got himself another 2 minutes of time before the next eye poke attempt was coming his way. That one was more effective. What are you talking about? I'm mad and I don't know who I'm more mad at. You're either mad at Tom or you're mad at Ciryl. Are these guys just fucking rage baiting me into content? Or are they that dumb?
I don't know who I'm mad at. I'm either mad at Ciryl or I'm mad at Tom. Something about this, though, was...
It's the dumbest take I've heard. And wait till you hear Smith weigh in on this topic. The expert of quitting, by the way. If there's a quitting expert, this guy knows the standard. This is the gold standard. Like Joe Rogan calls Herb Dean of refereeing. This is the gold standard on quitting, guys. We're going to bring in the quitting expert. Okay, Anthony Smith in a second. But Chael's going to have some horrific takes first. We'll get through his horrific takes first. But it might go straight to Smith after that. And it does. 1 minute 10 on the clock. We're going to go straight to Anthony Smith here.
I'm disappointed.
Being poked in the eye is illegal, Brendan. But
No.
to fight with...
We're back to Chael, sorry, again. Okay? So I need to get on this side of the screen so Chael's dumb head can take it up. Here we go.
And just like everybody at home, I'm disappointed.
Being poked in the eye is illegal, Brendan, but to fight with one eye is very common. The opponent's trying to hit your eye. He's trying to bust up and make your nose bleed. So that part of it does have question for guys like Anthony and I. We're trying to...
Being poked in the eye is illegal, yes. But fighting with one eye is common. When you've been damaged. I've seen people on Twitter posting Benoit Saint-Denis' face saying, yes, referee, I can continue. Because he got fucked up legally. Because these guys are being fucked up in a cage fight. If they call it off then, they lose by TKO. It's not the same thing. I keep seeing people post things like that and it's like, this can't be real. I keep seeing things of the eyes swollen up on fighters' faces. I'm like, the guy got smashed with an elbow on the face with ground and pound. He's going to say he's going to continue or he's going to fucking lose by TKO. And the fight is going to be called off and his opponent's going to win because they've successfully destroyed his eye with a legal elbow. A legal elbow. What's the confusion here? Let it play again.
Legal, Brendan, but to fight with one eye is very common. The opponent's trying to hit your eye. He's trying to bust up and make your nose bleed. So that part
Legal stuff.
of it does have question for guys like Anthony.
That part of it does have question if you're a fucking retard. Like if you're genuine, and this might be the problem with having pro fighters with a certain amount of fights on the analyst desk. This is a problem. And it's a little bit confusing for guys like us. If by guys like us, you mean brain dead, mush-brained tards that are for some reason giving the expert analysis to the casual fan base on ESPN. You know, guys hit you with this, they bloody up your nose, they swell up your eye. So for guys like us, that's where it gets a little bit interesting. No. Legal shots, illegal moves, fouls. These guys are acting like we never seen a foul before. This shit happens. And it ruins the fucking sport. How is that in any way confusing? I feel like the entire MMA industry in times, maybe this is egotistical of me, is just laying me up to dunk on him. Because that's how easy this shit is getting. I'm speaking logic. And I feel like the whole world's not getting it. And it makes me very worried for the future of humanity. Because I feel like 90% of Earth right now, especially right now, 90% of Earth are barely sentient human beings. And it bugs me out a lot.
Anthony and I, we're trying to be polite. We're trying to show grace. But in all fairness, if you're the heavyweight champion of the world, you got to fight with one eye at times.
Well,
Like DC and lose. Like Stipe and get knocked out immediately afterwards by DC, who I poked him. Or if you're a heavyweight champion of the world, you got to fight with one eye sometimes. If Tom Aspinall got smacked up by Ciryl Gane with vicious shots, so bad that his eye swole shut, he would continue, I would imagine. Or he would lose his world championship belt and lose the fight by TKO. So he would go out there and go out on his shield. We see that all the time because we see people get beaten up all the time in this sport and get their eyes swollen shut. Another ridiculous take there from Chael Sonnen that feels like he's just speaking to speak with no... And he's been on Ariel's show apparently since this saying he defends Tom Aspinall. No. You've set the narrative to the casual fan base on ESPN. All I know is this. I feel like more and more these days, anyone working for ESPN or the UFC, little robot mouthpiece, man. Whatever the UFC tells them to say, they just go ahead and do it. And for whatever reason, the UFC seems to be spreading a message of, let's just shit on Tom for everything he's worth. Because when you hear what they're about to say about Ciryl, we'll wait for that moment. 20:20 on the clock, or 2 minutes 20 on the clock right here.
About the way that the story was being told, the way that it was being held on the eye and never removed. I mean, don't forget this cloth that
The way that the story was being told, the way that it was being held on the eye and never removed. Like Tom's telling a story. In the middle of his championship bout, it's just been stopped because of an eye poke. He's felt it bad. Okay? He says, oh, fuck my eye. He's had a reaction. And they think in that moment, he goes, how am I going to tell a story to make people convinced that this is real? Like, that's what would be going through his head in that moment. The way the story is being told is crazy.
The way that the story was being told, the way that it was being held on the eye and never removed. I mean, don't forget this cloth that he had in his eye contained an ice cube. This wasn't some kind of a magic cloth that was going to cure a cornea or something that was wrong with your eye or even take swelling away.
It might have just wiped something out of his eye. Got a little, made it feel a little bit better. It's comfort at the end of the day. We see so many fighters do this. I've never heard this complaint before. This thing that wipes on your eye is not some magical thing that's going to fix all your problems and do all this and do all that. I've never heard this complaint before about someone asking for something to wipe their eye with in a hopes of maybe making things better enough to where they can continue. But Tom Aspinall said every moment it went on, his vision got a little bit worse. And you don't need a scratched cornea. You don't need to lose vision permanently in your eye forever and ruin yourself like Bisping in order to lose vision after an eye poke. You get eye poked, your vision comes back later that night. You get eye poked, you start getting your vision back the next day. You get eye poked, your vision's gone for half an hour, for 10, 15 minutes. Then you start seeing things properly again and it stops aching and bugging you non-stop. What is this, like, paid for message to be sent out by fucking robots?
Contained an ice cube,
Right.
and it was just being held on there oddly. Then there was conversations that were taking place. There was a story that was being.
I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
Just being held on there oddly. Then there or even take swelling away. It contained an ice cube,
Right.
and it was just being held on there oddly. Then
It was being held on there oddly. Nearly every fighter I know, bar Cejudo, which we'll get into in a second because everybody's getting on to me about that. Bar Cejudo, anyone I've seen get eye poked is asking for something to wipe their eye with. That's normally the way it goes. Not every fighter. I'm sure some of them are like wiping with their finger or their eye. But I've seen a lot of fighters immediately go, get me a cloth. Otherwise, why the fuck is the doctor or the referee bringing a cloth in for a fighter whose eye has been poked? That wouldn't be an option for a thing if it wasn't in any way beneficial.
or even take swelling away. It contained an ice cube, and it was just being held on there oddly. Then there was conversations that were taking place. There was a story that was being told.
There was a story that was being told. Outright calling Tom Aspinall a liar. By the way, he has no idea what happened backstage. He has no idea about the hospital visit. He has no information whatsoever on this. The story being told. I can't see anything. Fuck, I can't even see. That's literally all he said. Get me something. He's trying to wipe his eye and make it feel better. The story that's being told. Like he's come up with this elaborate plan for a moment like this to where, how do I convince people to let me out of the fight once Ciryl Gane uses my fucking head like a bowling ball? Insane stuff. These are your analysts. Paid for. They get paid to do this shit. And they're on this analyst desk speaking to the most casual fans in the world. If you're wondering why Twitter looks like what it looks like, this is partly the reason. There's other reasons. And we all know the other reasons. But this is partly the reason. They're getting fed fucking propaganda by the UFC and its employees. It's bullshit.
And I've checked out of fights before. I know what it looks like. And I knew that he was done.
You haven't checked out of a fight before, Chael. As far as I'm aware, from an eye poke. I might be wrong. I've seen you check out of fights because you got a takedown stuffed and you shrimped up on the ground and took a beating like a pussy. If we're calling out Tom Aspinall for being a coward and saying he's making up stories, I know I'm not a fighter like Chael. But we're going to use terms, we're going to use terms. I've seen Jones get a takedown on you, and then you do this on the ground. We've seen you check out of fights, but there's different checking out of fights. And the way you and Smith have checked out of fights has been because someone's hitting you with legal shit. This would be the equivalent of Ciryl Gane hitting him with that jab over and over, and Tom curling up on the ground, covering his nose, like Smith would do. Getting in on a single leg and just sort of curling up on a fucking ball on the ground, which is the classic Smith technique. I can't wait until Smith tries to chime in here. We've seen Chael check out in fights. We have. Not because of illegal stuff. Just because he was getting hurt a bit and he shrimped up on the ground. Not the same situation at all. I quit because someone was beating me up. So I know when someone's lying about an eye poke. Not in any way relevant at all. And after the Raja Jackson take, bruv, Chael had such a chance with this undefeated, undisputed. My fucking respect for Chael plummets every fucking few weeks. So odd. It feels like there's this like greater good, hot fuzz style, like neighborhood watch, cult vibe going on where they've all got this little memo that they got to parrot the speaking points of. And even if one of their guys goes down, they cover for them, even if it's against their own best interests and they get a ton of heat for it. It's so odd. It's so strange. We go to 3 minutes and 18 into this video as well. Anthony Smith's going to weigh in. All right, guys. We've got the expert on quitting. All right, just in case everyone clear the fucking floor, the quitting expert is about to speak on things right now. Okay? Oh, my God, dude. The quitting expert's about to speak on things.
Mad at me. You had a job to do, and you, for whatever reason, you guys did whatever you did, and you didn't do your job.
Don't be mad at me. This is talking about Tom Aspinall, by the way. Don't be mad at me. For whatever reason, you guys had a job to do, and then whatever happened between you guys happened, and then you didn't do your job. Whatever happened between you guys happened. He got his eyes gouged out damn near. One of the nastiest eye pokes we've seen. Double eye poke, both in the eyes. Eyelid closed on one side. Still got him right in the eye and digged in afterwards. It's not like there's a fucking titanium shield of an eyelid that you have. Jarvis, close eyelids. And then you're defended from everything. This is a soft bit of skin above your eyeball. So odd. Anthony Smith just chiming in with that. Like the most retarded take I've ever heard.
Job to do, and you, for whatever reason, you guys did whatever you did, and you
Ciryl Gane eye poked him. Still ain't mentioned it.
didn't do your job. I'm not saying it's Tom's fault, and I'm not gonna, pretend that I know how bad it is or isn't. I think Chael made a poetic point that you have to be used to or willing to fight with one eye. I did it in Singapore.
Now, when I first heard this, and I reacted to this on the Mighty Guru show. If you guys haven't checked out the Mighty Guru show, watch it after. I reacted to this on Mighty Guru show, and I said, I didn't know Smith, I didn't know. Someone mentioned the Singapore thing, and he fought on to win. I just kind of brushed over it. I thought maybe Smith was saying, and I did this in Singapore, as in he'd been poked in the eye and got blinded, and decided to continue anyway. Okay, let's listen back to that one more time.
And that I know how bad it is or isn't. I think Chael made a poetic point that you have to be used to or willing to fight with one eye. I did it in Singapore. Everyone talks about it all the time, where the ladies waving stuff in front of my eyes. I can't see it.
I thought he meant an eye poke when he said this. Otherwise, this point is fucking irrelevant because you were getting fucked up. So I looked into it. Who did he fight in Singapore again? Let's find out who Anthony Smith fought in Singapore. Oh, yeah. In Singapore, Anthony Smith fought Ryan Spann in their rematch. You want to know how he got this eye? Ryan Spann clobbered him with a left hook in round 2. Badly hurt him in the fight with a massive left hook straight to the eye. And then he's acting like, I had to do this in Singapore. Yeah, because you were getting fucked up. And if you didn't do it, you'd get called the fight off by TKO loss for being beaten up. You didn't get eye poked. How is that relevant to this situation? That's the only way Smith saying that could mean something. I did this in Singapore. I did this in Singapore. You know? Like, oh, Tom should continue after being eye poked because I did this in Singapore. This is his job. You got fucked up by Spann. He won the fight fucking somehow, by the way. Span's had a few fucking stinkers, real dumb moments in his career. But he hurt Anthony Smith really bad in round 2, started fucking him up on the ground. And that was the result of it. After he hit him with a left hook on the feet, Smith's eye swelled up. Didn't swell closed, but it swelled up. And there's no reason to bring that into this situation. It was a punch that did it to you. So he's like leaving out information, trying to act like he too fought through an eye poke at one point, and I'm actually tougher than the heavyweight champ because that's just what we as fighters do. Go and watch the fight in Singapore between Ryan Spann and Anthony Smith, because I'll tell you this. He could see. That's not the only point. It was like a punch sequence that did it. So the point is irrelevant. This woman came into the ring, shined a light in his eyes. By the way, a light that Tom Aspinall couldn't even look directly at when he was in the hospital. Because every time they shined a light on him, he went, immediately his eyes is closed up again and sensitive to light. They held up fingers in front of his eyes and he guessed every single one of them correctly. This woman held up about 5 different sets of fingers. 1, 2. Watch it back yourself. It's in round 2. This is between round 2 and round 3 of Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann 2, I believe, or maybe it was 1. But the one where they went to a decision. And she went 1, 2, okay, or 1, 3, 2, 4. And he said every single one of them correctly. Maybe Smith is just lucky. And he got lucky and guessed every single set of fingers correctly. Then the woman told him to follow her finger, as he just mentioned then, follow her finger with his eye. And I can't show UFC footage because they are always trying to get on to me about some bullshit. I played audio from a Jan Blachowicz Octagon interview once and they got me for that bullshit as well. She starts swaying her finger like this, and I'm not kidding, Smith's eye follows it perfectly. Follows it perfectly. And the ref says he can see. Yep, he can very clearly see. We're continuing this. So Smith's just outright fucking bullshitting. You want to talk about someone bullshitting? I don't know if Tom's saying it's true or not. You're bullshitting. Because I just saw what happened in Singapore. No eye poke. You got fucked up in round 2. Won the fight anyway. Congratulations. Fucked up in round 2. Your eye didn't even swell shut. You could still see because your eye tracked her finger perfectly while she shined a light on it to make sure everything was fine. And you guessed every single sequence of fingers that she put up. About 5 or 6 of them. Maybe he's just lucky. Maybe he accidentally traced the finger with his eye as well. But there you go. Anthony Smith trying to chuck in the Lionheart shit about how he had it happen to him. Not the situation at all. Guy's talking out of his fucking ass on ESPN, on the analyst desk. But we get back to Anthony Smith's bullshit.
So what do? I just walk away and say, let's fight. You just, like, you
She didn't walk away, by the way. He went through the whole situation, passed every test. Verdict was that he could very clearly see. And then she said, yep, he can see. Let's continue. The referee actually said, if this gets worse, I'm going to bring you back in and you're going to check it again. But the actual doctor, cage side, said, yep, he can clearly see. Let's continue. And she left. And then Smith resumed the fight. Waffling out of his fucking ass on TV here.
You either want to or you don't. And my fight wasn't for a world title. I didn't have Ciryl Gane in front of me throwing bombs. But the second that there was an issue, I knew that I wanted to continue, so I know what to say. You never say, I can't see, if you want to continue to fight.
That's because you were fucked up by punches. The way he's talking about this like he's some hero. Gives himself the name Lionheart as well, by the way. King Richard is rolling in his grave right now, by the way. Waffling like he went through the same shit. You got beaten up in round 2 and your eye was swollen. Of course you're going to want to continue. Like Benoit Saint-Denis wanted to continue. Like a bunch of other fighters who've been beaten up and continued, despite one of their eyes being partially closed, have chose to continue. Because it's a completely different situation. You haven't had your eyes raked out badly. Your belt ain't on the line, as you even admitted there. But more importantly, the difference is you weren't eye poked. You got caught with a punch, and you sank to the ground in a ball for the rest of the round, nearly, while Spann looked to follow up punches on you, and then you chose to continue, because if not, you would have lost by TKO. The way he spanned that situation compared to the reality is a fucking joke. Absolute joke from Anthony Smith.
Right. So when they ask the question, you just nod your head and you just walk away. Like, you find a way to get away from the doctor. If you want to fight, you can fight.
He didn't find a way to get away from the doctor got away from him. Watch it. Between round 2 and 3 in Singapore, he's looking, she's talking to him. Can you count my fingers? He answers every single one correctly, follows her finger around. She looks at the ref, says, yep, he can see it. We're going to continue. He's not trying to get away from the doctor. He's following everything she says, and he's answering perfectly because he can see out of his eye that isn't even swollen shut. He didn't get poked in the eye. He got hit with a punch that swelled the area around his eye to a point where it wasn't even closed. And he's acting like, I went through the same shit Tom did, and I didn't quit. Trust me, guys, I'm Lionheart. Your eyes open, man. You went on to win the next round and time your shots perfectly and still look like nothing really changed compared to the first round and the third. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Nasty eye injury. He had a swollen orbital in that one, but you could still see it. If you watch the corner moment, you can tell that. So that little moment from Smith is complete bullshit. Waffling like he's a tougher guy than Tom Aspinall, like he gutted out an eye poke. I don't want to linger on that because there's so much more bullshit that we have to get through. 4 minutes 21. We're back to Chael on the bullshit. Let's go. Bullshit guy number 2. Take it away.
Used to these things. Tom said something, and look, we got to dwell on a guy in a really bad moment, but to dwell on him,
Don't dwell on Ciryl Gane at all, though. Don't ever call him out for an eye poke. Let's just dwell on Tom.
Said, I got poked in the eye, I can't see. If you got poked in the eye and you're injured, we have a totally different conversation. If you get poked in the eye and you can't see, generally in our sport, that's just something you've got to push through.
And that's bullshit. First of all, the first part of that sentence was just waffle, just to speak. And you get injured, there's a different thing. So he wasn't injured. So he was injured because he can't see. That counts as an injury to me. If your eye is shut down to where you can't see. It's a bullshit sentence there. But then he ended it by saying, that's just something you got to fight through. It shouldn't be. It really fucking shouldn't be. When someone rakes your eyes out and they have a history of it and they tried to do it 2 more times before that in the fight. It really shouldn't be. We shouldn't be dwelling on Tom here. At all. I don't even mind not shitting on Gane 100%. I know he's a dirty fighter. But I'd very happily chalk this up to, fuck, the fight got ruined. Let's just rebook it. But the fact there's been so much attack on Tom makes me think, you know what? Fuck Ciryl Gane. And fuck everyone who's chucking him under the bus in the industry right now. It's insane. 6:06 into the interview. Who are we back to now? I think this is Anthony Smith as he raises his finger. The bullshit expert. The quitting expert wants to weigh in again.
And there was one takedown.
One takedown attempt. Yep.
This is about the takedown attempt.
I think that Ciryl stock went up a little bit.
Well, and there was
Ciryl stock went up a little bit. It did a little bit.
one takedown.
One takedown attempt. Yep.
Wasn't even close.
Right.
And they don't get closer as time goes on.
And what?
Casual fan take. Like in any other round, he wouldn't have been able to score a takedown at any other point. They don't get closer as time goes on. You don't just get the other takedown. Imagine telling that to Khabib or Makhachev. You failed your first takedown. Well. Imagine telling that to fucking Marab. I know Aspinall's not that level, but this is a casual take. And it's almost so intentionally casual. I know they don't believe that. That one takedown wasn't even close. And it don't get closer. So, you know. That's how wrestling works. You figure out different angles of entry. You figure out different ways of taking a guy down. You adjust your takedown. You shoot from a different position. Chael knows that. Anthony Smith knows that. Smith's had fights where he can't take a guy down early, but he could do later. Chael's failed a first takedown before and got the second one. That's the fucking fight. That's what happens in fights. A lot. So to even mention that as a point is, again, speaking like a casual fan.
What did you take from the fact that he didn't continue to go for that? Did you think that he would readjust and go for it in the later rounds, or did you think that
feel it right away.
Right.
4-minute fight. He shot 2 minutes in, minute 30 in. Next time he tried to shoot, he got his eyes raked, but it didn't go in his eye bad enough to where he had to stop. No, what's your position on how he didn't go back to that? Like he should be shooting like Merab 50 times in round 1. We had 4 minutes of fight time. What's your take on why he didn't go back to that? Like 20 seconds later, you should have just shot again on Ciryl Gane rather than ever trying to get respect on the feet first. All of the logic about fighting has gone out the window so they can shit on Tom. And it's insane.
Feel it right away.
That was a sign to you.
If you take a shot and you're not close and those hips are too strong and they're meeting you and he's making the right adjustments
and Smith would know all about taking a shot, meeting the hips, and it not being okay. So maybe Smith has got a point here. Because when I see Smith shooting a fight, he just sits on his knees in a ball on the ground and accepts a beating. Accepts a worse, horrific beating and quits in the middle of the fight. So maybe he would be the expert on this.
he turns and then you're kind of just stuck out there, you know right away, I don't want to probably do that too many more times.
Tell that to Merab. Tell that to Makhachev. Tell it to any grappler in the fucking sport. Oh, you didn't get your first takedown. Just, you know, you don't want to do that again. Any wrestler in the sport will tell you otherwise. Intentionally retarded take from two people paid to analyze the fight. 7:35, there's more retardation that we need to cover.
I mean, it has to. It was unintentional.
Talking about the rematch. Do you think the rematch should happen? Anthony Smith chimes in immediately. I mean, it has to. It was unintentional. No clue if it was or not, because Ciryl always does that. But it was unintentional. Cool.
It was unintentional. Ciryl was nothing but kind on the. Sometimes
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Ciryl was, absolutely, we have to do the rematch. It was, and I'm not complaining. We do have to do the rematch immediately. We have to do the rematch. It was unintentional. Ciryl was nothing but kind. I mean, what is the memo that I haven't gotten in terms of a reaction to this fight? You didn't take the belt off Jones when you got kneed in the head, and that's the only reason you're on that fucking analyst desk. If you had any real brain for MMA takes, your fucking own show on paper with Anthony Smith wouldn't have 70 views a fucking interview. You get 0 views on your own, doing any of your own content. If you took that belt off Jones, there's no way you'd be sat on that analyst desk. It's the same way Michael Chiesa never sued McGregor when he threw a dolly at the bus and it cut his eye, and Chiesa could have got a title shot against Khabib but didn't. It's exactly the same thing. He didn't sue McGregor. The fight went on. Nothing bad happened. The UFC protected their golden goose, and now look, Chiesa's on the analyst desk as well. Even if he might be a little bit better than it at Smith. The only reason you're even sat there is because you did a good thing for the company and they're indebted to you. So now they parade you around, little tard on the analyst desk, when I can think of 50 other fighters on the roster that I'd much rather be sat there than you. Anthony Lionheart Smith getting a send-off by Jelly Roll, giving him a hellfelt hallelujah, a retirement package. You know what I mean? That Stipe never fucking got. That Aldo never got in the moment. He eventually did, but never got in the moment. Smith gets one, though. Dumb. Ciryl was nothing but kind. Can't even say dirty fighting from Ciryl, to be fair. He kept pushing their fingers in the eyes, and it's going to happen, They got to learn to warn him and take a point preemptively. Maybe there's no even discussion about this.
I mean, it has to. It was unintentional. Ciryl was nothing but kind on the. Sometimes I think some of
Nothing but kind. I don't know why it keeps full screening this fucking shit.
those decisions get made in the interviews. Mm-hmm. If he's not as graceful possibly about it, and maybe Tom was more graceful, maybe they could find their way to something else.
That's what we're going to go off of. So to call it intentional and to take a point for an eye poke and to call it a DQ, what has to happen is the guy needs to get on the mic afterwards and go, yeah, I fucking meant to do that shit, the bitch. I gouged his eyes out, yeah. And maybe if Tom was more graceful, how dare he have a problem with it? Are you mad? We're living in a world 90% filled with absolute retards, and it terrifies me because I have a lot of kids. I'm going to have 10 kids. This has really made me lock in because it's moments like these that make me realize that there are tards among us. And they outnumber us. And they keep having kids. It spells disaster for the future of humanity.
this seems to be the fight, then I'm telling you what the narrative is going to be tomorrow.
Let's hear it.
Is that Tom Aspinall was in a fight that was harder than he thought it was going to be, like Chael historically talks about, and look for a way out. That's going to be the narrative. That's not what I'm saying. I would never say that. But that's what everybody else is going to say.
Maybe they'll say it because of everything I've already been through that you've said on this desk to the casual audience of MMA that are watching this on ESPN, and it's immediately cut to you two guys after the fight. Maybe, just fucking maybe, you have said that indirectly about 7 different times in 7 different ways. Now, I'm not saying that, but I think that's what the narrative's going to be. Now it's the narrative. And it would have been a narrative anyway, because there is that collection of MMA fans. No champions in the sport. They're desperate. They've been crying about it for years. I didn't realize how sad they were about it, but there is always going to be that narrative against Tom where they're still defending Jones, a PED cheater, a wife beater. They still herald Jones as their guy, rather than Tom, who's never set a foot wrong in life bar a silly joke to Nina Drama that was out of taste. It's the worst thing he's done in life. So there's always going to be that take. Fucking dumb, man. Just the way they're talking about this. I swear Woodley didn't even get shit like this. Woodley got shit on for boring fights, but Woodley never got... I know he never had a moment like this, but my God, I look back in history, I'm like, man, has there ever been a fighter shat on more after a moment like this? Aljo got it bad, and we'll get to Aljo in a second. That's another part of this video.
And I think we got a little bit closer.
We got to move on. 9 minutes. The last part of this.
Fight to the ring. By the way, we only have 2 rules. Don't poke the guy in the eye and don't bite him. So, I mean, in all fairness, I do want to show a grace to Tom Aspinall. I just share that Tom has not yet had to deal with an adversity. This is his first one. This wasn't his fault, but it was an adversity nonetheless, and that is a test he did not pass.
I do want to show a little bit of grace to Tom. He got faced adversity for the first time with an illegal eye poke and gouge to both of his eyes, and he didn't pass it. Thank you for that grace to Tom Aspinall there, Chael. Really good grace there. That was really nice. The way you set it up by saying you were about to show grace to Tom Aspinall and then immediately went, you're going to get the only things that are illegal are eye pokes and things, and we never seen Tom face adversity. He got his eyes gouged out in the middle of the fight, couldn't see, and he failed the adversity test, guys. He failed the adversity test. That's just clearly what this was. Just for a second, I thought there'd be a glimmer of logic out of Chael, but no. Stick to the memo that you've been told to say. You parrot. You robot. This is why I don't want to work for the UFC. When they tried to put me in every countdown video, people forget, man, the UFC were in contact with me. How do we get you in the countdown episodes? How do we work with you to help promote this? They were putting me in countdown episodes. My voice, my takes. I released a video about John Jones anyway. They didn't like that. No more countdown appearances for MMA Guru. I don't give a fuck. I'll never end up like a little robot bitch like this on screen doing exactly what I'm told to fucking say. And weirdo, bruv.
I'm excited for this fight to be as soon as possible for one reason. I wanted to see what the result is right now. I feel like it's going to be unfair for Tom to go in there and struggle. If we're being honest, he was struggling there, wasn't looking great. He was having
down by a couple strikes, had a bloody nose. Cool. It's not like he was getting 10-8'd. I've watched the fight back so many times. Anyone else watch like the highlights on YouTube and been like, where's the 50 jabs people were talking about? Gane landed like 3. One of them caused a nosebleed. Fair enough. But the way people discuss that first round is not how I saw that first round. I saw a back and forth round that Gane got the better of. By a couple of shots.
Having some problems. It seems unfair for him to have that almost 5 minutes of data. Now keep his title, almost as if he took a loss, but he still gets to keep the title. Go back, fix all of those problems. And
it's almost like a loss, but he still gets to... They're saying this to the casual fans. This is what the casual fans being fed. They get that 5 minutes. It almost seems like a loss, but he didn't even get to lose the title. He gets that 5 minutes. It's almost unfair that Tom... Just say Ciryl Gane was dirty. Really sucks to see the fight end that way. Hopefully we can reschedule it as soon as possible. Now the rematch is even more interesting because of how competitive the first round was and how good Ciryl Gane looked. And he looked better than people expected him to. And let's book the rematch. But no, they take every opportunity they can to shit on Tom Aspinall. Someone who has done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong in his life. Nothing wrong in his career at all. He's had his whole fucking title reign ruined for 15 months by a fucking wife-beating, PED-cheating bitch in John Jones. Okay? And there's a lot more names I could call him based on the Hasbullah video and based on other videos we've seen on him as well. He's had his whole title prime ruined for 15 months. He comes back into this after 15 months off. They get competitive in round one. Ciryl Gane slightly ahead. He gets his eyes raked out by Ciryl Gane, and now they're chucking him under the bus. What the fuck is going on in this world? This really does borderline activate me in a way I didn't know before.
4 months down the road.
And then come back, and now Ciryl he's fighting a different guy as if it's the first time. If we do it in December, that's not enough time for either one of them to change.
Poor Ciryl, though. Poor Ciryl, guys. And now Cyryl's almost got to fight this different guy who's had him figured out. And poor Ciryl. That's what it is about the end of this. This whole thing's unfair to Ciryl. Now I want to go through these bits at the end. I know this is a long video, but my God, the way these guys have just... Aljamain Sterling. I mocked Aljamain Sterling. You want to know why I called Aljamain Sterling an actor? And I'm going to hope I get away with this. The reason I called Aljamain Sterling an actor was because of this moment, okay? That's why I called Aljamain Sterling an actor. I'm going to play that for you one more time, okay? Talk about convincing a ref that you want to stay in it, which he's about to say. Nasrat fucking Hakparast weren't acting like that. And very important to note, this was a fight where he was getting his ass fucking whooped. Not a Gane Aspinall type ass whooping, where Jan was up by a couple strikes. It was like leading to one-way traffic, and Jan ruined his victory. That was the victory was in his grasps. It was right there, right in front of him. He was on his way to completely destroying Aljo. The first 2 rounds were competitive, but as it went on, in round 3 and 4, he was beating the shit out of Aljo. So much so he did it illegally. Bad on Jan, but this is why people had a problem with this particular situation. So, Aljo being through this, you'd think he would take Aspinall's side. Okay? What does Aljo have to say about this? Been through the same situation. People shit all over him as well, as they are doing to Tom Aspinall too. Surely Aljamain Sterling's going to take his side.
I think the topic of the hour, as with everybody, is Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane and what actually happened. Was he milking it? Was he using his best Aljamain Sterling acting attributes?
No, because he would have been doing this on the ground if that was how he was going to do it. He would have really played into it as you did. Maybe Aljo was legit, but you can see why people would think otherwise a lot more obviously than you can see why people would think otherwise for Tom Aspinall. Okay? And you can also see why people would be annoyed that that happened because Jan was absolutely destroying him, and that really benefited Aljo to do that. It might have minorly benefited Tom to get a better start next time than what was happening, but he was behind by a couple of strikes.
To take home the gold? Now, I know y'all think I'm going to be on the side of Tommy, but I'm not.
I'll be honest. The way the world's been going recently, I know I said, I wonder if Aljo's going to be on his team. The way the world's been going recently, I didn't think that for a second. I'm just going to be real. Didn't think it for a second. Kind of knew you'd be against him here. Just something I've noticed. Noticing a lot of things recently.
Now, I know y'all think I'm going to be on the side of Tommy, but I'm not.
Shock twist.
Not. I'm not in the sense that he posted after the fight his eye, and we got to see the damage. And apparently, from what was posted, it looks like everything is okay.
No serious damage. He's not going to lose his vision for a year or 6 months. He didn't have a detached retina. So it's not good enough of a reason. So because he posted a video afterwards showing that you're actually going to be able to fight again and see again, this is great. You're not actually going to have to go through any like weird surgery or healing process. We're not going to have 6 months off where he recovers. Because of that, that's the odd part for Aljo. What should he have posted instead after the fight, Aljo? Should he have posted himself partying afterwards? After he just had a concussion? Like you did when you were partying and celebrating with the belt over your shoulder with drinks and your team? Is that what he should have posted instead? Maybe that would have gone down a little bit better. How dare he post what happened after the fight? Because he has his own embedded team recording the entire lead up and the aftermath.
But I have so many questions, man. I have so many questions. He got double zoinked. I get it.
You don't, then.
But the one that got zoinked the worst, like where it looked like the nail, the middle finger went in a little bit further. He wasn't even complaining about that eye. He was complaining about the other one, which...
He did complain about the other eye. It's just the eyelid wasn't permanently closed on the other eye. He could open that eye. He just couldn't see out of it well. He said that backstage in the video that Aljo claims he watched. He said it multiple times. I brought it up in my last video. The way fighters are playing dumb about how an eye poke even to a closed eyelid, we'll get to Terrence McKinney in a second before I end. Dude, that eye was closed. That one didn't even get hit as bad. It was still an eye poke though, wasn't it? Guys playing dumb like tards.
Which will look to me on camera, the right eyeball. Mind you, the reason why I think this does not look good, and I'm going to just say it straight, Tommy Aspinall was losing that fight.
By a couple strikes. Not getting beaten up and bitched around by Yan like you for 2 whole rounds, where you had no success and you were getting folded on the ground, crawling back up to your feet, where Yan would dunk you down again and smash you with more massive shots, and drop you and rock you all over the place. Nothing like that. Nowhere near like that at all. Nothing close to what you went through versus Yan. He was down by a couple of strikes. Was he losing that round? Yes, objectively, he was down that round. Could he have landed a flurry at the end of that round that would have turned it back in his favor? Absolutely, he could have. It was a competitive round that Gane was slightly ahead in. Is this how good Tom is? That being down a couple strikes in one of the rounds means that he was just clearly losing the fight.
Right away, the guy is saying, I can't see. That is the one thing I have to say. Tommy really, really fucked up. You can't say, I can't see.
I know. You got to just act like you can see and fight blind. That's a good point.
We know those are the nail in the coffin to any fight. You can't say that.
It's so true. It's so true. You never really want to do anything to convince the referee that you can't continue. And that's a really good point from you, Aljo. Only a fucking coward would do that. You never want to do anything like that. That's the golden rule, as we as fighters know. You never really want to do anything that looks bad to a referee.
So if you actually want your 5 minutes to try to recover, to see if you can stay in the fight, you can't use those words. Just say, okay.
Many fighters have done so.
Okay, let me take my time to see if things get better. If guys want to compete,
he did take his time. We waited a while before that got called off.
That's what they say. I got illegally kneed, blasted in the head, and I got destroyed on social media for a year and a half. I'm sitting there on the ground and I go, just, give me my time and I'll see if I can recover. And
just give me my time, guys. I'm just going to see if I can recover here. He was having coherent conversations with the referees, you guys. Just nothing but trying to convince him that he could continue. Nothing but trying to convince him that he could continue there, guys.
Now you have this where it's just like, I straight up can't see. I do feel that watching the fight, there's something to be said that the fight looked like it was starting to get tough. And for those things, it makes me question it. Do I question Tommy and his integrity? No, but I think it makes me...
You just did. You just did.
Question, like, did that hurt as much as you said it did?
That's enough out of Aljamain Sterling. His coaches, by the way, are completely on Tom's side. Completely on Tom's side. Terrence McKinney, last but not least. Bruh copping out, Gane was smacking his nose with the jab, his eye was closed, no way. Fighter in the UFC. Fighter in the UFC. Knows exactly how eye pokes work. His eye was closed, no way. After the replay, the other guy seemed to have got it worse than the one he was holding. The MMA industry is putting out some messaging, even this from ESPN. Tweeting like a John Jones fan account or posting like a John Jones fan account. Hate, there's another one, Happy Punch on Twitter. Just outright hate farming Tom Aspinall after this. The doctor, by the way, said the fight absolutely should have been called off. You've got vision loss. Your eye's not reacting to light the right way. Because every time they shone a light in his eye recoiled away from light. But these posts on Twitter are like immediately leaving out those bits of information. No long-term eye damage. Let's also say this, yeah? Put that in the little small text. He also believed that Aspinall's fight against Gane should have been stopped. Thank you for putting that front and center, guys. You would have been maybe hate farming Tom otherwise. I don't know what to say anymore, man. It's a weird world we're in, dude. It's a crazy world we're living in where maybe it's my affiliation with Tom, and it's egotistical to suggest that, but maybe it is. I know I said Cejudo kind of bitched out against Song Yudong because I've never seen a fighter do this before when they get eye poked. I can't see anything with his eyes wide open. But then Henry Cejudo, a couple of days later, I took it back and walked it back and said, you know what, I was wrong. I was raging at chat members saying, no, I really do think he's faking here. And they were saying, no, he might not be faking. There's like a couple like real chat members that were like, you're fucking wrong on this. Like, you're really wrong on this. And I was going back at him like, I don't think so. I think that's a weird way to react to your eyes being poked, keeping them open the whole time, not even dabbing at it or closing it non-stop and having that reaction that we normally see. So I took it back. I don't see no one taking back the Tom shit. I had a take a while ago about Cejudo's eye. It's just retarded shit, man. World's full of retards. And this industry can pump stuff out, and people like Aljamain Sterling and Terrence McKinney will just fucking parrot it as well. Do their bidding. It will feed right into what they want to think. And it's just absolutely insane. No wonder. I think there's like powers that be in the world that want a bit few more of that type of person who's just gonna go along, do. Yeah, he wanted out of that fight, you guys. Where we can clearly see there's like a unanimous message from the UFC and any company affiliated with them to completely ruin the image of this guy over something where he did no wrong. Absolutely insane. More people are doing that. I think even Poirier was saying, but Poirier had a bit more of like, I don't know how bad it was, but, you know, I've continued for eye pokes before. But I don't know how bad it was, you know, so it could have been really bad. So it's just, there's so many people weighing in on, even Cejudo weighed in on this, I think. Someone told me, they messaged me, dude, Cejudo said something about this as well. But I think Cejudo almost said it out of spite because he got called out for not continuing through an eye poke before. But it's just odd stuff, man. Goodbye.